Hey everybody, that was Evan Shuffle by Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters and Little Walter. Instrumental of just the two of them. So this episode's about this Boardwalk Social Club Saturday afternoon concert series. This is the jazz episode, but I don't really know too much about jazz. It's really instruments, all instrumentals. And that was an early one, really early instrumental. And then Little Walter went on to write Juke, which is a bigger, jazzier instrumental that was a big hit. In fact, a lot of the blues guys that I really idolized and loved to go see, Muddy Waters, they would have their band come out and do a couple instrumentals before they played. And several became classics, like Hideaway by Freddie King, and just a couple of blues songs, instrumentals that have really stood up. There's a bunch of them. Whammer Jammer by Jay Giles is a lot like that first one, Evan Shuffle. That's one I used to play with in like my first band, and then Big Danny and everything. You kind of need a band to play, but it doesn't matter. Oh, thanks everybody. Whammer Jammer. Let me hear you, Vicky. Yeah, and they had a couple other instrumentals. Ice, Snow Cone, and Billy Hector's a master of the Jay Giles instrumentals. He's really good at doing them. Back in when Billy Lilly played harmonica with him. What other instrumentals? Or jazz. I guess I'm talking about jazz. I've seen some jazz things kind of. I grew up behind the Garden State Art Center in Homedale, and we used to sneak into concerts there, and we went to see Dave Brubeck, and that was a good one. Dave Brubeck is a jazz guy from New Jersey, piano player, and they played him on the rock station WNEW, but my mom knew who he was, and he had one great record that had two songs that became like classics, Blue Rondo, A la Turk, and Take Five, both two jazz standards now. Anyway, we saw him. We snuck in to see him at the art center. Me and my friends from high school, we knew who he was because from listening to the radio, and he had a good harmonica player, very good harmonica player. A young guy who was friends with one of his sons, who came out to play his couple songs. He walked out barefoot. I was very impressed. Anyway, Dave Brubeck, that was a good concert I went to see. Yeah, the harmonica player, his name is Mad Cat Ruth. He's still around and makes his own microphones, very good microphones. Then another good piano player, Keith Jarrett, I saw him, and also Charles Mingus, the bass player, all at college things. But I'm not a big expert on jazz. Those are my big jazz concerts I've seen, and then Billy Cobham and things like fusion kind of jazz. But Billy Cobham I saw open up for Roy Buchanan at the Sunshine Inn in Asbury Park. That was a odd show to go see in high school. There wasn't much singing. It was a real rock crowd. And Roy Buchanan didn't look like I expected him to. So anyway, back to jazzy instrumentals. This one is called the Gibson Creek Shuffle, that I learned from Kevin and Neil. The first band I played with, the guys that became the Three McCoys. They had already played this one. This was kind of like their jazzy instrumental, but it was also like the way of introducing the band or taking a break. A break song is what Sonny Ken would call it, a break song. Anyway, Gibson Creek Shuffle is by Robin Ford, guitar player from the West Coast, like a San Francisco guy who played with Miles Davis and George Harrison. Robin Ford. Anyway. Solo. MJ Hancock on the bass, everybody. From Bradley Beach on the drums. Sweet Joey on the drums, everybody. take a short break. We'll be right back. That's how it usually goes. Anyway, the Gibson Creek Shuffle. Robin Ford. And his brother is a good harmonica player. What other instrumentals? Oh, you know, Robin Ford also played with Charlie Muzzle, a great harmonica player who does a lot of instrumentals. His most famous instrumental is Cristo di Redemptor. But here's one I learned by Charlie Musselwhite. He had a record called Harmonica According to Charlie Musselwhite that had a instructional book with it, and this one was in there. This was the strangest song in the book. It was a hard one to learn. It's like I guess it's fourth position harmonica. The song's in A minor, but the harmonica is in the key of C. But it sounds like it has a cool, mysterious sound. Charlie Musselwhite song. Thanks, everybody. Charlie Musselwhite, he's a big influence. I always like to go see him over the years. Once we were lucky enough to play a blues festival with him, open up for him down in Florida. That was good. Get to meet one of my big heroes. Charlie Musselwhite, I love him. You know, there was another harmonica player I really liked to listen to was and try to play like was John Mayall from England. John Mayall was a early British blues guy who had he was known for having good guitar players in his band, Eric Clapton and Mick Taylor and many others later. But anyway, he had a jazzy couple records when I was learning how to play harmonica. One of them was called Turning Point. It had no drums and flute, and it was kind of jazzy sounding. And one of the songs was Room to Move. That was that one and Whammer Jammer. Those were my big hits when I was just a side man playing harmonica. Room to Move. you can. Have you circulating, cause that's the way you gotta give me, cause I can't give the best unless I got room to move. One, two, G. If you want me, darling, take me while you can. I'll be circulating, cause that's the way I am. You gotta free me, cause I can't give the best unless I got room to move. And the crowd went wild, as Billy Hector would say. I was a jazzy instrumental with vocals by John Mayall, one of my big harmonica heroes, blues heroes. He plays guitar and piano and still playing. Saw him a couple of years ago opening for Buddy Guy on the outdoor stage in New York City on a dock. I think I went with Michelle. Anyway, John Mayall played all minor key blues songs. He played whatever he felt like playing for like 40 minutes. I thought it was great, really great. I love John Mayall. You know, all over the years he's done a lot of interesting things. You know, tries to keep blues current, interesting, different. Yeah, I'm a big John Mayall fan. He's still doing his thing. You know, once all those years, I really looked up to him. I'd see him concerts, and then once he played, I saw him right on the Boardwalk in Asbury Park, and I saw him carrying his amp out to the van afterwards. I was thinking, man, oh man. It never changes. It never, you know, like I was thinking, someday somebody will carry this amp for me. But if John Mayall carries his amp, I'll carry my amp. Okay. Instrumentals. Here's one by us that we, speaking of minor key songs, this is one we made up a couple of years ago when we were playing on the Boardwalk, our outdoor gigs at Asbury Park Yacht Club, Langosta Lounge. They asked us to play for the Eclipse, which was a big event on the Boardwalk in the late afternoon. So anyway, this was our mood music instrumental called Solar Eclipse of the Sun. Sounds a little redundant, but in the sun is in parentheses. Solar eclipse of the sun. Solar Eclipse of the Sun, Boardwalk Social Club. I know MJ is working on, he plays instrumental things once a week with his other band, like trance music. Anyway, that's where we're going to work on something like that. Play, probably like a chromatic harmonic like this with that kind of music. Also, Sweet Joey plays the Jew's harp, jaw harp. So that's our next instrumental thing, trance music with harmonica and jaw harp. Yeah, who else? All the other jazz guys. Sonny Rollins, he's great, the sax player. He has one great song, St. Thomas. And then also he plays on the Rolling Stones. A couple of songs by the Rolling Stones, Waiting on a Friend, Slave, and maybe one more. So that proves that the Rolling Stones are the greatest jazz band in the world. So far, I claim the Rolling Stones are the greatest blues, country, reggae. Anyway, their drummer, Charlie Watts, does have a very good jazz band, traditional jazz. which he's very good at. So the Rolling Stones are the best jazz band in the world. I think the best jazz record is Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. My friend Mark Muller told me to listen to that one. Because I tell you the truth, I'm not a big huge jazz fan. I don't know that much about it, and a lot of it was really hyper and like frantic sounding. I couldn't really relate. I didn't feel like that, or I didn't want to feel like that. But this album, Kind of Blue, is the opposite of that. It's really soothing, kind of meditative, bluesy jazz. And so it was a good suggestion. Mark Muller, he's the guitarist in that band I was telling you about with Kevin and Neil. It's Real McCoys. He's also the pedal steel player on Bruce Springsteen's new record. Yeah, then I listened to, like, for a couple of years, jazz was popular. There was a radio station in New York, RVR, on the right side of the dial, that played like fusion jazz. So I would listen to that once in a while. And some bands like Herbie Hancock, Stanley Jordan, Watermelon Man, Herbie Hancock, that was a good one, and School Days, Stanley Jordan. I listened to some of that stuff for a while. Yeah, RVR. My friend Pat Scavino, the Asbury Park music artist mainly, we used some of his artwork for our record covers, but Pat Scavino used to book shows like that. You know, he knows about that type of music, you know, like there's a few bands that became really popular because of that radio station, and still, you know, Jazz Messengers or Passengers and Spyro Gyra and Pat Metheny, bands like that. Anyway, my favorite instrumentals are more like Booker T and the MGs. That's my, and then let me think. Then there's all the great guitar instrumentals, like Jimi Hendrix, Villanova Junction, or two great ones by Carlos Santana, Europa, and Samba, Pad Thai. I love both of those songs. We try to listen to instrumentals for our yoga class, our 4 o'clock yoga class. Instrumentals seem like the best. So I'm always interested in music that sounds good in a yoga class. That's my next thing besides the children's album. I would like to work on something like that with MJ. Something sparse and with a lot of big holes, empty things. Like, anyway, that's our new project. I'm hoping. Oh, anyway, guitar instrumentals. Santana, Jimi Hendrix, those ones. But then the Allman Brothers have a string of great instrumentals in memory of Elizabeth Reed and Mountain Jam. I would say the Allman Brothers are the kings of instrumental rock, you know, whatever you call it. Those are all great songs that people recognize. Well, they were really influential, a very popular band at the Jersey Shore, you know. I think they were regional. I mean, they might have not been as big in other parts of the country, but in around New York, Long Island, Jersey Shore, the Allman Brothers were really popular. We have instrumentals on all of our records. Our first one, we had a good one that Sonny Kent, we just made up in the studio, called Stalkin', and another one called Showplace Shuffle or Showplace Boogie. Those are both really good. And then on each one we had, I think, an instrumental one with Dave Myers wrote Form Other. That was a good one. Michelle, my daughter Michelle, helped name that one Form Other. And then, yeah, we usually put one instrumental on every record. I don't know. The Beatles had one instrumental, a song called Flying. I don't think the Rolling Stones have any instrumentals. Although Joe Murphy would know. Joe Murphy and Michelle, they're having a baby today. Maybe right now. Rose. So anyway, I'll play this last one for those guys. For Michelle and Joe. This is our big instrumental called A Nice Way of Closing. Anyway, thanks for joining us again this week on the Boardwalk Social Club Saturday afternoon concert series. I guess I'm going to keep doing them, but we're scheduled to start playing again outside of the Langosta Lounge, Boardwalk, APYC. Not this Monday, but next Monday. June 29th, I think. We'll see how it goes, see how it all works out. I think it'd be okay to play outside. We'll see. I hope so. Anyway, good luck to Michelle and Joe. Thanks for everybody for listening every week. This week was the jazzy instrumental version. Next week it might be the comedy edition. Maybe I'll enlist the help of MJ and Sweet Joey. Maybe they'll either come over or do it somehow, like over the phone at the same time. They could tell knock-knock jokes over the phone. All right. Thank you. Good night. Thanks, everybody.